This is the Fiat Multipla. Hooah! Ruth George came to me with this car saying 3 seats in the front, 3 in the back, a machine of legends. Well, it's certainly an interesting machine. This is a funny car because that is one ugly SOB. I mean, look at it. What the hell were Fiat thinking? Well, they were thinking practicality with this car. This isn't actually the original Fiat Multipla, although it's probably the one that you know and... I was going to say know and love, but you probably don't love it. The original Multipla came in 1956. It was released as an MPV conversion of the Fiat 600. The 600 Multipla allowed for 3 rows of 2 seats, which really set it apart from other cars at the time. It became a very popular cab vehicle across Italy, particularly thanks to its practicality, but also its reliability and very low running costs. This car was the project baby of Roberto Giolito, who at the time was quite obsessed with pushing the boundaries of radical car design. You can see the Fiat Downtown. There's also the Fiat Zik, which is a bit less strange. One of the important takeaways from this before we move on to the Multipla is that the headlights are above the bonnet, but also there's a clear line that separates the lower half from the car to the cabin half, with the windows, the pillars, and the roof. During the 90s, this was a point where MPVs were taking over the world. All you have to do is look at some of the MPVs from the time. This is the Renault Megane Scenic, and most MPVs at the time, and throughout the 2000s, mind you, follow this styling formula. Very angled front, with the windshield or windscreen going into the bonnet. So it's a very uniform piece. But like a lot of SUVs nowadays, they all sort of looked the same. Obviously, there are lots of rebadges as well, a thing that happened then as well as now. But there was a need for some uniqueness to come into the field and put a spanner in the works, shake things up, and get designers thinking about how they can make an MPV look different. And that's clearly something Giolito wanted to do. You can't blame him for wanting to do something different. One of the problems with MPVs at the time as well is that they were extremely long, often coming in at around or over 5 meters long. So the question for Fiat was quite obvious. How can we make a 6-person car, like an MPV, that is shorter than the MPVs that we've got right now? Because, well, they're too long. They started with a 2+2+2 seating layout, which is obviously quite normal for MPVs, but they ended up changing this to a 3+3 setup and used a space frame structure as a brand new platform for the Multipla, as you can sort of see here. The advantage of a space frame is that it's not only very lightweight, but it's got quite a short construction period and it can be quite adaptable. So in future, Fiat were able to take the structure they had for the Multipla and make changes to it. So as a result, the Multipla had its very own platform, which is cool. A car of unique proportions, as you can see with the photos of it. The reboot Multipla, the 1998 one that we're looking at now, was made higher and wider, which kept the transmission and drive shaft well below the cabin space, which as a result allowed for a flat floor that can incorporate 2 rows of 3 seats. And like even the middle, they're proper middle seats. They've got even sliding rails, so you can move them back and forward, so leg space wouldn't be an issue. It's a valiant first go. And for a first try, this is innovative engineering, which is something that the Multipla, it doesn't get enough respect for. So yeah, let's go on to that design. It is the elephant in the room. Or actually, should you say the Multipla in the room? Because like an elephant, it certainly does command attention. This is one of Fiat's most famous adverts for the car. The 3 people sitting down, and then One thing I noticed, none of the kids in this photo look very happy, do they? Why do they? They could have told them to smile, but whatever. Anyway, the Multipla design is a classic case of fashion following function. The engineering did not turn into a good-looking car. The top and bottom halves of the car being so separated looks weird. I think if you remove the top headlights and incorporate the windscreen into the top of the bonnet, it'll look a lot better. The headlights and the grille sort of give the thing a really weird-looking face. You can see where this design was coming from, actually. If you look at the round headlights and you can see the bit of the bumper, so I guess the bumper line goes through the headlights. This was something that was present in the Fiat Ritmo from the 80s? Yeah, 80s. So, round headlights. You've got this bumper that slices through the middle. And I really like the look of this car. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Clarkson roasted this thing. He despised it when he reviewed it back when it came out. But I really like this. Might be a bit of a guilty pleasure. I don't know what one is like to drive, but I love it. I love the funny little vent on the bonnet. It doesn't need a bonnet scoop. There's no way it does, but it's a funny looking thing. Or maybe it does, because there's not really much of a grille there, but I'm getting off topic. There are clear design cues that were taken, as well as from the concepts, for the Multipla. You can really see from the concept of the Zik what has been taken and applied, such as this clear separation between the lower half of the car and the upper half, which is really reinforced by this really funny top headlight thing. I think the car would look a lot better if they just got rid of this and had the windscreen go down into the bonnet more. You can still have a more flat bonnet, that's okay, but I think this is what throws the design off, particularly having the Fiat badge so high up. It just looks odd. Seeing one of these cars in the flesh is a really strange experience, because just as you begin to process the really polarizing exterior that is sort of oddly staring at you, you look up towards the cabin and you see 3 seats, or if someone's behind the wheel, you see 3 people looking back at you. And because of the interesting exterior design, the 3+3 layout just makes it seem even more weird. So by the time you notice 3+3, you've already got a sour taste in your mouth. So no wonder this concept never quite took off. So as a result, the Multipla isn't ugly but innovative. It's just weird. The redeeming qualities don't come across as redeeming. It just adds to the strangeness of gazing upon one. That said, there are people who disagree with me, Jeremy Clarkson being one. When he first reviewed this thing, he said it was a, quote, masterpiece. And you can understand why, because the 3+3 is, I think, a great idea. It keeps cars from being too long. Of course, it adds to the wideness of a car, but it showcased a brand new design, which must be appreciated. Can't say I appreciate the exterior design much. I think there's a difference between going with something new and going with something bad. And this is an example of making the wrong choice. It tries to be futuristic looking, but it just comes off as a bit of an alien car. Because the 2 sets of round headlights just make it seem, 3 sets of headlights, I'm guessing these are the fog lights down here, just make the car look strange, because it doesn't have an easily digestible face. You've got the headlights and the bumper and the grille, they all come together to give the car a look. One great example for this, and one car I love the face of, it's actually on the rear, but it's one of the Volkswagen Golfs from the 2000s. It's got this really cheeky smile as it looks at you. It's expressive. the expression of this car is that of some mutated beast from, like, you know, the Futurama sewer? And this looks like a sewer mutant if it was a car. It's just off. Yeah. It's the type of car you would see, like, it's a very uncanny valley sort of car. You look at it and you just know something's not quite right with it. So as a result, when it comes to the innovative stuff, the thing that a lot of R&D was put into, the 3+3, you can't look past it and go, oh, that's actually a clever idea. You see the exterior and go, ugh! And then you see 3 people on the inside and you think, I am dreaming. This isn't real. You have to do a double take. I've had to do a lot of double takes seeing this thing. It's like, you know, it's polarizing, as I said. So yeah, Fiat Multipla design, very interesting. As far as the R&D for the actual car goes, design aside, it's interesting. Fiat did something different. They experimented and they did something different, which has to be appreciated. Overall thoughts are the Multipla is a very good lesson to not rely on a single feature or gimmick to be able to sell your car, because you can't just rely on the other parts of the car, like the design, to just naturally fall into place. The design of this car, the engineers, they've all talked about how the fashion has followed function with the Multipla, but you have to do both of those things in tandem. You can't do one first and then think about the other, because otherwise, no matter how innovative your car may be, it just won't sell. A lot of people, like the target market for the Multipla, a lot of people, they want convenience. They're buying a 3+3. Well, I mean, it's a 3+3. It's an MPV. It's a car that relies on, being able to put lots of stuff in the boot, carry lots of people, be a convenient car for a family. But although a lot of people don't mind owning, driving an unremarkable car, most people would rather not be seen in something just pure ugly. Because there's a difference. There's a difference between that Megane Scenic, which is just a sort of generic MPV, which sold like hotcakes, and the Multipla.